The fox pulled. For one terrifying moment, the tiny body slid toward daylight. The father lunged. He caught hold of the nomad's arm. No! The claw stretched tight. The fox growled and pulled harder. The father planted his feet. His spear rested against the tunnel wall. He reached for it with his free hand. His fingers barely touched the shaft. Then he grabbed it. With one desperate thrust, he struck the fox across the nose. The fox yelped. Its head jerked backward. Its claws released. The young nomad tumbled safely into the father's arms. The family collapsed together, brief and hard. Outside, the fox shook his head. It snorted angrily, then looked back toward the hollow. Instead of leaving, it began digging again, harder. The entire village went silent. Hours passed. No one dared leave. No one could gather food. No one could restock a single hollow. Porky stood in the darkness, listening to the fox move from entrance to entrance, sniffing, digging, searching. Every scratch against the bark made the weight inside him grow heavier. Hollow Seven's flood basket remained empty, and now the fox was keeping everyone from replacing it. One thought refused to leave him. This is my fault. Inside Hollow 7, Tim looked toward the ceiling. They're getting hungry. An elder nodded. They'll have to wait. Tim hated those words. Outside, the fox finally stopped digging. Its ears turned. Its nose lifted into the wind. Then, without warning, it wandered back into the forest. The village remained frozen. No one moved. Not yet. One elder slowly stepped from his hollow. He searched the tree line. Nothing. Another elder joined him. Still nothing. Tim emerged with his spear ready. He watched the woods for another long moment. Finally, he lowered it. It's gone. Relief spread across the village. Families slowly came out. Several hollows were scarred with deep claw marks. One entrance had nearly been torn open. Everyone stared at the damage. The village would never feel quite as safe again. Tim broke the silence. We've lost enough time. He lifted his basket. Let's gather food. The villagers prepared to leave. Porky never moved. His eyes remained fixed on Hollow 7. Daniel's father placed a hand on his shoulder. We'll have the basket full again before nightfall. Porky forced a smile. I know. But he didn't believe it. The next morning, Porky sat alone outside the village. Everyone else prepared for another day's work. Hunters sharpened stone blades. Gatherers checked their baskets. Life had begun moving forward. Everyone seemed ready. Everyone except Porky. He quietly picked up a small travel sack, a few dry berries, his knife, a rolled sleeping hide. Nothing more. He looked back at the village one last time. They'll be better off. Then he turned toward the forest. Where are you going? Porky stopped. He already knew the voice. Slowly, he turned around. Susy stood behind him, staring at the sack. Porky, what are you doing? He couldn't meet her eyes. I can't stay. Morning sunlight filtered through the towering canopy. The Rootborn village slowly came to life. Children hurried across the branch roads. Hunters prepared for another day beyond the valley. Builders gathered fresh vines for repairs. Everything looked normal. But to Shelia, nothing felt the same. She found her mother standing near the edge of a great branch, watching the forest awaken beneath them. Mom? Sheba turned and smiled. You're awake early. Shelia walked beside her. For a while, neither of them spoke. Finally, Shelia broke the silence. What happened to me? Sheba didn't answer immediately. She simply gazed across the endless sea of trees. I've been asking myself the same question. Shelia frowned. You don't know? Sheba slowly shook her head. No, I don't. She looked at her daughter. But after yesterday, I finally understand something. Shelia waited. When I was your age, my mother was different. Shelia listened carefully. Wild animals never feared her. Birds landed beside her. Deer stood close enough to touch. Even the wild creatures seemed to know her. I always believed she was simply patient. She smiled softly. Now, I'm not so sure. Shelia looked toward the forest. You think she could do what I did? I don't know. Sheba answered honestly. She never talked about it, and I never asked. I thought it was simply who she was. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves around them. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Shelia whispered, So, who am I? Sheba reached over. She gently took her daughter's hand. I don't know who you're becoming, but I do know this. She smiled warmly. You are still my daughter. And whatever this is, God gave it to you for a reason. Shelia looked back across the valley. The answers weren't there, only more questions. Yet somehow, they no longer frightened her. She took a slow breath, then nodded. If there is an answer, I'm going to find it. Far above the canopy, something moved silently through the morning sky. Neither of them noticed. This isn't the end of the story. It's only the beginning. Tune in for the next episode, A World of the Nomads. If you enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, and share, and hit the comments. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you want to see more of. Let's talk.